who finished their assignment. The 10th Circuit had ruled that even having the Bible on top of the teacher's desk in view of the students violates the First Amendment, and Roberts had been forced to hide the Bible in his desk after he was admonished by the principal, Kathleen Madigan. The appeals court also ruled it unconstitutional for Roberts to include 2 Christian books, the Bible in Pictures and the Story of Jesus, in his 240-volume classroom library, among such other books as Tom Sawyer, The Wizard of Oz, and Charlotte's Web. Also in the classroom library were 2 books that contained discussions of Indian religions and a book on Greek mythology, neither one of which the ADL was concerned about. The ADL filed an amicus brief with the 10th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals to quote ADL in the courts, and I quote, ADL's brief argued that the district court properly denied the injunctive relief when it determined that Roberts was using his role as a teacher to advance religion in violation of the Lemon Establishment Clause test. ADL argued that the Supreme Court has recognized repeatedly that to impressionable school children, religious activities in the public schools convey the message of government sponsorship of religion. This is particularly true when a teacher reads from the Bible in front of students. End quote. Now, someone reading this casually would think that it means that the teacher was reading from the Bible to the students. And of course, he was not. Words can be tricky. And words can tell the truth but convey the wrong meaning, especially to sheeple. However, as even the ADL had to acknowledge, quote, one of the 3 judges in the Court of Appeals panel dissented, charging that the school was converting the Establishment Clause into governmental disapproval, disparagement, and hostility toward the Christian religion, unquote, all of which are forbidden by the Constitution of the United States of America. The ADL's hostility to the basic Judeo-Christian principles upon which the United States was founded is blatant. Its support for overtly satanic or New Age alternatives to Judeo-Christian moral values, while less public, is also clear, very clear, upon close observation. The League's post-Matamoros efforts to sandbag Texas legislation against satanic-related crimes is one case in point. Another case in point, ladies and gentlemen, is the ADL's involvement in one of the most outrageous instances of child sexual abuse in recent memory. The scandal began in Omaha, Nebraska, and many of you have heard about it, but eventually spread to Washington, D.C., implicating officials of the Reagan-Bush White House in after-hours cavorting with male prostitutes. It has been the subject of thousands of pages of news coverage, several criminal trials, and one book, The Franklin Cover-Up, Child Abuse, Satanism, and Murder in Nebraska, written by retired Nebraska State Senator and decorated Vietnam War hero John DeCamp. In late 1988, federal regulators moved in and shut the doors of the Franklin Community Federal Credit Union in Omaha. The institution had been looted into bankruptcy by its founder and manager, Larry King. King, a prominent black Republican Party activist, had been sponsored by some of the most powerful people in town, including the publisher of the only statewide daily newspaper in Nebraska, Harold Anderson, and one of the world's wealthiest men, investment broker Warren Buffett. Following the blowout of Franklin Credit, evidence began to surface that King, along with many of his prestigious local backers, was part of a VIP homosexual cult which regularly tortured and sexually abused area youth and pedophilic orgies. Further investigations, ladies and gentlemen, linked King to Washington lobbyist and homosexual Craig Spence. When Washington bunco cops busted a male prostitution ring in the summer of 1989, Spence's name showed up all over the company's records as one of its biggest spending clients. Spence had high-level White House and GOP connections, and on several occasions had toured the president's home after dark and the company of corporate clients and homosexual prostitutes. According to several accounts, King and Spence were business partners in several callboy services. Back in Omaha, Nebraska, a mad dash to cover up the pedophile activities was launched by local Federal Bureau of Investigation officials and the Omaha Chief of Police, Robert Wadman. Himself a member of the homosexual cult, according to numerous witness accounts, and according to a book recently published, the FBI had a lot of practice covering up this kind of thing, following their director, J. Edgar Hoover, during his tryst with young boys across the nation. Ultimately, King was carted off to federal prison on bank fraud charges, and several efforts to get to the bottom of the pedophile ring were short-circuited. I might inject here, J. Edgar Hoover was also a 33rd degree Freemason of the Scottish Rite. More questions remain unanswered, but one thing is certain. Alan Baer, a local Omaha multimillionaire and financial backer of the ADL, was personally caught red-handed in pedophile activities. In 1990, Baer was charged with pandering by local police. He pleaded guilty to a lesser charge rather than face a jury trial with all the attendant media coverage. Baer's name came up repeatedly as a major player in the testimony of victim witnesses to the child abuse. The Alan and Marcia Baer Foundation was also listed as a source of money to several charities, including the Girls Club of Omaha, that were apparently victimized by the child abuse ring. The foundation also donates to the Gay Men's Health Crisis Incorporated in San Francisco and the People with AIDS Coalition. In December 1991, Alan Baer put up the money for a full-page advertisement placed by the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, in several major newspapers. The ad headlined, quote, "Not all Nazis are living in South America," end quote, was a fundraising pitch for the ADL. Bad judgment on the part of the ADL, or merely one more instance of raising the curtain on who they really are? The ADL showing its true colors? Ladies and gentlemen, you be the judge. Good night, and God bless you all. You're listening to the Hour of the Time. I'm William Cooper. Folks, tonight I'm going to embark on a course from which there is no return. It is important that you learn the information that I'm going to begin to impart to you tonight